The sad day that we find out that Whitney Houston has passed over to the other side. But I wanted to bring some good news to the world about her passing, and that is that we never die. Our soul goes on and on forever and ever. And Whitney, I know you can hear me out there, up there, and I just want to say that you bless the world so much with your beautiful voice, your heavenly voice that had to be the voice of an angel singing those beautiful songs. And we just want to just reach out and up to her and let her know that we love her and that we know where she is, that she's an angel up in heaven. And that's part of the message and the reason for this video that I'm making is I want to comfort her fellow friends and fans and loved ones and just let them know that we don't die, that our soul goes on forever into the higher realms, and share my journey to the higher realms and how I know this to be true. And it's an unforgettable journey, and it's my story about my spiritual death and spiritual resurrection and what actually led me to go on this journey. But I'm going to roll back time now and go back to around 1995, which is the year my sister died. About 3 months before she died, her husband, who had died like a year and a half earlier, he came to visit me in his spirit body, and he actually took my spirit body out of my physical body, and he took me down the hallway, and he said to me, "Beverly, Mandy needs you now." Mandy's my sister's name. And he said this without moving his lips and his white, fiery, light body. And I answered him back without moving my lips because it wasn't me, my physical me speaking, it was my spirit speaking to him. But the spirit body is just as real as the physical body. That's what I learned that day. And I answered him whimpering and said, I know, Jim, she needs me. Then I woke up whimpering, and that morning my sister called me and she said, "Beverly, I need you." And I said, "I know, Mandy, Jim was just here and he told me you needed me." And she was like, What, Beverly?" And I said, "Yeah, he was just here." And she was like, "Oh my God, no." And the reason she said, "Oh my God, no," was because she had met someone, a friend who was comforting her, a male friend, and I guess she felt very bad about that. But that's not where I'm taking this discussion right now. It's the fact that Jim made contact with me from the higher realm world, and he came to me in his white light body, and at that instant I knew that we don't die. We don't die. We never die. And Jim and I weren't even very close, so it was shocking for more than one reason, because he and I barely spoke to one another. We weren't even friends, if you could even call us that. So that was pretty amazing that he chose me to come to me. And I realized right then that we all do go to heaven, to a heavenly place, a heavenly realm. Because Jim was saved. I guess I didn't realize that he was saved. He didn't go to church. He had been to Catholic school, I guess, as a young man, but he wasn't a devout Christian. He had married a Jewish woman previously. So, I mean, it just went against everything that I believed, because I believed, only if you were a devout Christian could you find your way to heaven and to the heavenly kingdom. Which we do need to be a Christian, but I'll get into that later. But so anyway, the next 3 months I spend with my sister and my mother, and we are just happy girls hanging out together, getting our hair and nails done and shopping and just having a wonderful time together. And then one morning I woke up and I go and I open the door in her room, and she is face down with her hair covering her face, and I just remove her hair away from her face, and I notice that she's turned blue. And so I scream and of course get my mother to call 911 or give her mouth to mouth, and it was just chaotic. But nevertheless, she had passed away. And then the next night, I was just so upset with my grief. It was just insurmountable, the pain in my heart. And I started to drift off to sleep when, bang, someone slapped me really hard on my forehead. And I'm like, wow, who was that? And I roll over and look at my husband at the time, and it wasn't him. He was sound asleep and really far away from me in this big king-size bed we had. And so I said, okay, it must be Mandy. Well, the next morning, I get up and share this story with the rest of my family, and my mother just jumps out of her seat, and she says, oh my God, Beverly, the same thing happened to me. And exactly 111 to both of us at 111 in the morning. So we assumed that that must have been the time that her soul left this earth. Well, anyway, after that, I just was in such grief because I just felt like my husband wasn't compassionate at the time, and he was doing a lot of things that really frightened me, hanging out with people that really frightened me. So it was an awakening for me, an awakening. And so I decided that I'm going to leave him. And so that's what I do. I get in my car and I just start driving and driving and driving with my mother. And we drive up to see his mother, who was dying of MS. And I was just beside myself. And then I called hospice. And hospice told me, they said, whatever you do, don't make any life-changing decisions right now. You know, go back to your husband, and then in a year, if you still want to leave him, then think about it, which was kind of strange advice. But anyway, I took it because I was just, you know, and so distraught and in so much pain. And I went back to him. And then about, I don't know, a few months later, I'm doing all this research on angels, and I'm in a bookstore, and I read this one book. It's my first book that I read, Embraced by the Light, by Betty Eddy. But then I start reading about the Zohar and the Kabbalah, because my husband at the time was Jewish, and I wanted to learn more about this white light where my brother-in-law had visited me from. And about angels, because I knew that my sister had become an angel. And so while I'm in the bookstore, this young girl comes up behind me, and she says, how did you get such a cute butt? And I just look behind me, and it's this girl who looks like an absolute angel. She had this gorgeous, long, reddish blonde, wavy, curly hair, just like a mermaid or an angel. And I look at her, and I just kind of startled, said, what do you mean? Like that, anyway. But we became friends instantly, and she took me to her apartment, and she showed me this canvas that she was painting. And she said, Beverly, will you help me, you know, cover this canvas in paints? And I'm like, well, I can't paint. But anyway, I picked up the brush, and I just started painting. And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to paint, I want to paint an angel. So I got a canvas, and I started painting, and this is the result of one of my first paintings. I call her Diamond Star. But after I painted Diamond Star, Miranda looks at me and she says, who incidentally had a name very similar to my sister, Amanda Miranda. So that was another sign that she was sent to me from God. Miranda said, how did you do that, Beverly? She's so beautiful. Your painting. That was my very first painting. I said, I don't know, Miranda, she just appeared. I just, you know, just said, I want to paint angels, and she just appeared. And then I painted another angel, who I call the Angel of Truth. And she really looks like Miranda. And then I went on a sabbatical, and I just started painting after painting. And this is like the solar angel that I call her, or the healing angel, the solar angel, also like the inner Christ child. And then this angel was the divine director who directed my path, my higher divine director. And then this angel, I called her the angel of joy, who actually makes her ascension. And you notice there's a moon there. in the painting, and she's sitting on top of the earth, on all the waters, and she's holding a cup in her hand. And inside the cup, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a translucent snake. In other words, a spiritual snake. Well, of course, I had no idea why I painted that. I'm just, following God's direction. I'm just connecting to this higher realm of light through this artwork that I'm painting. It just was healing me, and it just felt so good. And I painted another painting, and this one is one of the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon. And I didn't know why I painted that painting, but my journey ended up with a spiritual Christ on the cross. The inner Christ on the cross. That was where my spiritual journey ended. That phase of my journey, anyway. And I've just painted a whole bunch of paintings, and they were in chronological order for this path that I was about to go on. Now, I had no idea I was about to go on this purification path, but I was. And what I want to share with you today is how that path unfolded and where it led me. And I hope that this journey and this message, that it'll help you where you are on the path, help maybe show you where you are on the path, and help you in your journey to finding that higher realm of light and finding your purpose in life, your God-given purpose, because we all have a God-given purpose. And once we cry out to God to show us that purpose, well, then He sends us angels or messengers of light, and who guide us. And in Psalms, I just want to read a scripture for you. In Psalm 91:11, "For He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways." And that's exactly what the Lord did for me. He sent me angels. Not only did He send me physical angels to help me in my journey, but He sent me spiritual angels to show me where I was on the journey, and in the form of these paintings of my path, the spiritual path and journey that I took. And, okay, can we cut for a second?
Tell me what it is.
Diamond star.
More time.
Diamond star. The inner Christ child, the healer within, the solar angel, the galactic diva or divine director of my life. Okay, this is the angel Joy. This is me making my ascension in the light. I'm sitting on top of the earth, on top of waters, and I'm holding a cup up to a moon. And inside the cup, there is a translucent snake. And the snake and the moon are going to be... This is the angel of truth. She was one of the first angels that I painted. This is the sun and moon. This is the final painting. It's the spiritual Christ on the cross, right before the resurrection of the dead. This is the spiritual Virgin Mary, who would give birth to the inner Christ child.
Action.
Okay, so I'm painting all these wonderful paintings, and it's just filling my heart with joy. And I'm studying about the Lord Jesus, and I'm studying about angels, and the more I study and meditate on the Lord and paint these angels, the more my heart is just mending and mending and mending and getting more and more filled with joy. And one evening while I'm just sleeping and I'm just feeling so much bliss from all these paintings I'm painting, I get this vision. And I get a vision of Olivia Newton-John's song, Magic. Now, the words to that song really, really hit me hard, because I really never paid attention to the words of the song until I got this revelation. And the words go like, you have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. You have to believe we are magic. Don't let your hand ever stray. And if your heart survives, destiny will arrive. We'll bring all your dreams alive for you. So I'm like getting this divine heavenly message from my angels telling me I have to believe they're magic. I have to believe they're guiding me, that they're going to lead me to my destiny, that if my heart survives, my broken heart that's shattered to pieces, if my heart survives, they're going to lead me and guide me to my destiny. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Oh, that lifted me. Getting that divine heavenly message just lifted my spirit even more. And I just started to paint even more angels and more angels. And I painted this earth angel. I called the earth angel, and just all these paintings galore. And then one day, I'm just in my own little bubble, my bubble of joy, and I'm just really not paying much attention to the negativity around me. I'm just surrounded by all this joy that I found, my new joy I found in painting these paintings and communicating with my angels who just love me so much. I felt this overwhelming love from them. And I just didn't care about what was going on around me. And then one day, my husband, who at the time I was with, he asked me would I go with him to a medical meeting. And you know, I didn't want to go. I couldn't communicate with him anymore. And but I decided, you know what, I'm going to do what Jesus would do. And I'm going to give my company to my husband. Even though I don't want to go, I'm going to do what Jesus would do, and I'm going to go with him. And so I do that. I go with him to this medical convention and meeting and everything. And then when we get there, we go to dinner. And at dinner, the food was just so fabulous at this wonderful little restaurant called Arrivederci in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we go and we have this fabulous meal. And my husband at the time asked to meet the chef. And so so the chef comes out and he's like, "Oh, very pleased to meet the two of you." And anyway, he's talking in Italian. I'm not very good at my Italian, but he introduces himself. "I'm a Franco, I'm the chef here." And he talks about his restaurant and his food. And so anyway, my husband at the time invites him back to Houston and says, "Why don't you open a restaurant in Houston, Franco? We have so many good eaters there." So anyway, he comes to Houston about 2 weeks later. And my husband at the time says, you fool with him. I ain't got time. I'm too busy chopping up people's bodies," because he's an orthopedic surgeon. That's just how he talked. But anyway, so I go with Franco to look for a location. And then I get another revelation from my angels, and they show me this heavenly restaurant space that we find. And I run downstairs because I asked my angels beforehand. I prayed to the Lord and my angels, and I said, "Please show me the truth about this Franco person who's come into my life," because the clock was flashing 444 every time that he would call. So I felt like the angels were guiding him into my life. And just to back up a little bit, if you remember, the clock flashed 111 when my sister had slapped us. And then after that, I started reading this book called The Messengers, which speaks about how angels communicate to us through our digital clocks with 444. So then my sister started communicating to me with 444. And after I read that book, I had painted two of my angel paintings, and they frightened me because they looked so much like me that I took them up to the 3rd floor and turned them to face the wall. And as I was coming downstairs, the clock flashed 444. So I was like, okay, I know I'm being guided, but it's a little frightening and scary. But anyway, I'm going to pay close attention to these angels. And then I got the magic message from Olivia Newton-John's music and so on. But anyway, fast forward back to meeting Franco. So Franco comes to Houston, and I find this restaurant, and I get another vision that this restaurant where I'm running downstairs, I had been upstairs in my apartment painting, and he comes in, and we're just filled with bliss in this magical restaurant. Well, anyway, lo and behold, I find that restaurant, that space, but the guy wanted like $50,000 to be bought out. Well, no, 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 Franco wouldn't have no part of that. So I told him that's the space my angel showed me, but he paid me no attention, and he found another location. And anyway, needless to say, that location didn't pan out for multiple reasons. But the point I'm making is that we really have to pay close attention to the messages that angels are everywhere. They come in from visions, and they come in the form of people from the physical realm, but they also come from the spiritual realm in the form of ideas and visions. And that's how the blessings normally come, when we pay attention and watch the signs in life. But anyway, we could have probably made this restaurant work, but things got in the way. Number one, I never felt so much joy in all my life as I did from going shopping to actually creating this restaurant. I was creating something that was going to become like a gallery for my angels. I had an assistant who was helping me design the restaurant space. I was going to have like the sun and moon on the floor, and then Diamond Star was going to be on the wall where the grand piano would be, and my solar angel would be way in the back. Anyway, we had a beautiful vision for the restaurant. Well, Franco had a fight with my assistant, and that started the downward spiral of just the whole circumstance of that wonderful blessing that the Lord and the angels were trying to bless me with. But there are no coincidences in life. I want to say that right here and right now. And it's written in the Zohar, which is the Jewish book of splendor, a book of light. And it says that there are no coincidences, that even the smallest, most random event in your life is designed on purpose by God, that God is always working behind the scenes no matter what. He's always working behind the scenes, and he was working behind the scenes with this relationship that was developing with Franco. Now, Franco being an Italian, was very, very passionate, and as passionate as he was about me, he was also equally as passionate about destroying me once he got that into his mind. So, needless to say, that relationship ended very, very harshly. It spiraled down very, very quickly. But the light that I gained, and in the Zohar, it talks about when we're on the left side, which is where I was on the left side. There's a left side and a right side of God. The left side is the snake, which is the serpent that I drew in my Angel Joy painting, which I showed you. The left side, which is the snake side, is there to help us purify ourselves. You know, but the snake comes in the form of temptations. But the temptation, once you've had it, taken it, and dissolved it, then it no longer can affect you. It no longer has power over you. And so that's where my ride with the snake and the dragon began. And just to go back to Psalm 91, where I read the first scripture, I just want to continue with verse 11. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. And thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion, and the dragon shall thou trample under thy feet. Now, I want to mention the dragon right here, because when Franco came into my life, it was like absolute joy and bliss between the two of us. He made me come alive. I just felt dead inside with my relationship with my husband. And when I met Franco, he started stirring up a fire inside me that I hadn't felt in so long. And he made me come alive inside. The creative process made me come alive, but so did this romantic desires in me. That he fired them up, you know, romantic desires that I thought were dead and long gone. My husband at the time would even beat on the drums that we had got from Arizona. I want puss, I want puss, give me puss. And I would sing back to him, I want romance, give me romance. so that was something that needed to be purified in me, this concept I had about romance that Franco fit perfectly. And so the Lord knew what I needed, and my angels knew what I needed to purify that side of me that was stuck there on the left side where the snake is. And I was able to purify that through this romance that I had with Franco and let it go. And remember, the snake and the dragon cannot harm you if your intention is for purification and in the Lord. Now, could I have taken a shorter route? Of course. I'm just sharing with you the route that I took. Had I gone straight to the Lord Jesus and just married myself to Him, I probably would have never had to ride the snake. But thank God I found out later that what happened to me is all in the Zohar, in the book of Splendor and Light. And that comforted me so much at the end of my journey to know that I wasn't hallucinating, that I was being healed. Because that's what was happening to me during this journey. I was actually being healed. And I was being healed supernaturally in a higher realm of light. And it was a joyous realm. Every step I took in absolute bliss and joy. And sure, I would fall, but then the Lord, I would cry out to God, which as Zohar says is the first step, is to cry out to God, the first step in your journey. And then God would send me an angel. He would send me an angel to help me on my spiritual path and journey. Well, anyway, after Franco and I separated, I got so depressed, because not only had I wrecked my marriage in my mind, but I had lost my restaurant. I wasn't able to focus on my restaurant because I was going through a divorce from my former husband, and I had lost the romance. The fire went out very quickly because there was just a tiny bit of light there, not a lot of light, but a tiny bit. And so I felt hugely like a failure. My restaurant, I had to close it down. I was also dealing with issues with my brother, who was addicted to crack cocaine and showing up on my doorstep because he was just crying out for help, and I didn't know how to help him. So all of this just was like ground zero for me, just caving in on me. And because I had all this evidence of what a loser I was, what a horrible person I was, that I was just like Mary Magdalene, which is another painting I painted. And anyway, so I cried out to God again in my weeks of depression. It went on for months, actually, months and weeks. I shut down the restaurant. Franco started to leave and go back to Arizona, where he came from. And then another crisis happened. My brother, who was on crack, came to my apartment and stole some very valuable things, Judith Lieber bags. I mean, things that he had no business even knowing what they were, much less taking them. So anyway, I fell to my knees, and I just, first I was angry, and then I said, please God, help me, help my brother. And then my phone rings, and it's Franco, and he says, Beverly, I just got $10,000 for the restaurant equipment, and your percentage is $10,000. He got like 20 or something. And anyway, that was the exact amount that I needed to put my brother into this Narconon program in Oklahoma. And so I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus, praise God. The money came. And anyway, I took my brother there. And then when I got back home, I still was very depressed. I started listening to music to try to make myself feel better. And one of the profound songs I was listening to was Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror. And I would look in the mirror and take a look at myself in the mirror and want to make a change. I really, really wanted to make a change. I didn't like who I saw in the mirror. And I was also listening to Elton John's music about Princess Diana and how she died. And I felt such a closeness with Princess Diana, because I saw that even though she felt unworthy, most of her life, especially in that marriage to Prince Charles, the one thing that gave her worthiness was when she would reach out to others who were in pain. And I just saw that as an answer for my own healing, was to reach out to others in order to get out of my own pain, to reach out to others to heal them. And anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to reach out to Franco and try to help him. And we went to this seminar. And this seminar was called, it was Bill Ferguson's seminar, and it was called How to Heal a Painful Relationship. And we went to this seminar, and we discovered that that there's two realms. There's a realm of darkness, and there's a realm of light. And that there's ways we create the darkness and the light. But the darkness basically is it's our core issues that we have, feeling unworthy or feeling like a failure in life. And that every time we get hurt, it triggers those core issues. And then we lash out at our loved ones in anger and fear or what have you. And then there's this realm of light. And the realm of light we create by totally accepting one another, by totally forgiving one another, by complimenting one another, uplifting one another. That's how we create the world of light, this realm of light. And so I had made up my mind that I wanted to find that realm of light and live in it as much as possible. And I was determined that I was going to become pure joy to everyone who met me, that I was just going to be an uplifter and uplift everyone who came into my life. And sure enough, my brother, who just before I took him to Narconon, I actually wanted to take my brother out to uplift his spirit. And I took him to this club. And this club, I sat him down with me. And while I'm sitting there, someone comes up behind me and says, "Hi, my name is James. Who might you be?" And I said, "Joy." I just blurted out joy because I wanted to become pure joy. So I thought, what better way to connect to the realm of light than to just be pure joy? So I said, "I'm Joy." And anyway, he said, "Okay, Miss Joy, can you swing?" And I said, "Well, I don't know if I can swing, but I can try." So anyway, we started the swing dance. And it just uplifted me so much again. Again, I found myself flying higher, like my Angel Joy painting. And I just found my joy again. And I just wanted to hang on to that joy for as long as it was there, as long as that light was there. And James actually came into my world to show me what my vision was, what my purpose and vision was. And, you know, Abraham, before he was circumcised, according to the Zohar, he was given a vision, and the vision kept him focused until he reached the circumcision point. And so I was really like an uncircumcised traveler on God's journey. And so James came to give me the vision. And how he gave me my vision was he said, "Here, Beverly, take some crayons and cardboard and paint your vision for me. I want you to paint it." And so I drew this painting of a world of joy. And it was the whole world with people holding hands all the way around it. And it had like a kid's space station in the center. And it had like all my paintings, like my moon painting saying, "Welcome to our world of joys." Everything was musical and animated. And then it had like all the joys of all the cultures of the whole world were there. And then I drew like this Barbie's world where you could go down one road of the sun path, I called it, because I drew this huge sun and moon, and there was a sun path to the Barbie's world, and then another sun path there was to Santa's workshop, because I was just trying to think of all the joys in the world that one could experience in this one place called World of Joy. And then you'd go down to this like Hollywood road to joy, which would be about all our past joys of Hollywood and our future joys and present joys. And then I had like this chocolate roller coaster and Coca-Cola fountains and just about everything you can think of that when we think about joy, like a confectioner heaven. And when you walked into this world of joy, the sound of music would be everywhere in the air, just uplifting music that would just lift your spirit higher and higher. And the more you traveled down this road to joy, the higher your spirit would go. And And then later in the week or that month, James came to me with another project for me to help clarify my higher vision. And he gave me this total quality management manual that was based on Deming's theory. And he told me, here, Joy, this is like a guidepost for you to write your book, Journey to Joy. And what the Deming's book about total quality management, and you can of course Google it and learn all about it, but it's about, you know, a product receiving quality on the way during the manufacturing process before it gets to the end of its journey. In other words, you know, because once the product reaches the end of its journey, then it's either rejected or it's taken as a high quality product, or it gets reworked. And I use that as like symbolism for the human product, how like when we're born, you know, we're pure joy and we're a wholly good product. But then when we turn like age 4 or 5, we get hurt for the first time. So then we lose some quality to us. And then when we become a teenager, we feel like that we're all alone, that nobody loves us or understands us, and so we start to feel unworthy of love. And then when we become 18 or 20 or so, we realize that we're totally on our own, and that fear takes hold of us. But if we're lucky, we actually make it through the manufacturing of the human product process, and we, you know, become a successful human product. But the ones who aren't lucky, well, they get reworked in society either through, you know, hospitals and pills or prisons or counseling, or they constantly have to be reworked. Well, I wanted to find a way to make the perfect human product, as silly as that sounds. I wanted to find a way to make a product that gets filled with joy in all the stages of that product development life. And what I realized is that, you know, we needed a lot of love, a lot of acceptance, you know, a lot of forgiveness for that to happen. But what I didn't realize at the time was that I was actually going to become that product and actually go through that whole reworking and reworking process until at the end of that journey I would come out who you see today, which is a product filled with joy. And, you know, in the Zohar it says that our sole purpose in life is to create a creature filled with joy and bliss. To create a creature filled with joy and bliss. And that's absolutely what happened to me. I became a creature filled with joy and bliss. And during the path of this journey, each step took me to higher and higher realms of light and joy and bliss. And that is what I wanted to share with you today, that there is a way to finding that joy that you're searching for and seeking. And I want to help take you there. If you'll allow me to, it would be my honor to help you reach the spiritual path and reach the joy that you seek, all of you out there. Thank you.
You can talk if you want to.
This is my sister Amanda, the night that she died. We went out for dinner that night, and this was at the Palm restaurant in Houston, Texas, where we had dinner. And that's the night she died. And if you notice, you'll see a light around her head, like a halo. This is my sister with my brother-in-law, Jim. Jim is who came to me in his white light, fiery body.